G'day everyone, welcome back to the late afternoon glass off. We found ourselves here at 9:30 on a Tuesday night. This was very impromptu. We shouldn't be here right now, but we are. Zach, you are going to Hawaii tomorrow, aren't you?
I am, but this kind of time of night, 9:30 on the dot, it's kind of fucking normal for you. You're fully nocturnal.
I just get up at about this time. This is when I start functioning the best. So I'm going to be flaring tonight. Zach may not be, but it's all good. We're
on total opposite sides of the earth in terms of circadian rhythm.
No, I do my best work beyond the hours of sort of 8 p.m. So
under the sheets or over the sheets?
Strap in. Really been a huge week, hasn't it?
Fucking astronomical week for surfing.
It's been massive. Just while we're here as well, really appreciate all those who have already. But if you can, please just follow us, subscribe, like on various different platforms. Whatever you can give us, we'll be stoked to take.
We are running the race to 1,000 followers on Instagram.
At the Largo Podcast on Instagram, TikTok. No one's on TikTok, but that's all good. And then subscribe on YouTube, the Largo Podcast. Zach, you, like you say, you've had a pretty chockers week. You've also fit in a bit of golf, which we'll insert a clip. You've telling me that you thought at least you're on the improve. And then two things happened. One, I got sent a video of you putting one up into the sky. And second thing, what happened?
Yeah, so I've been playing a bit of golf. And I feel like I'm at that stage. I would call myself beginner. Trying to break into intermediate.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm starting to click. Not click as in I'm fucking made it, but I feel like I'm starting to click where you start to hit the ball and it kind of goes in the direction that you were anticipating for it to go. Maybe 7 times out of 10.
Yep.
I've actually started to understand how a sand wedge works. I was never really understood that one when I first got it. But long story short, it's starting to feel pretty good. Not trying to say that I'm fucking pro or anything. It's not even close to anything like that. It's at the point where it's almost enjoyable.
Nice.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Anywho, I come home to a text message from Pete Roberts, who's like the master shifu of anything sports science and physiologically, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
He's essentially trained some of Australia's best athletes, rugby players, surfers, you name it. He's probably had a bit to do with them. And he also knows a little bit about golf apparently, because what was the text reading?
Yeah, he said, just saw your golf swing, which was probably the video that we'll put in here. Thank fuck you can surf. So thanks, Pete. If you're out there listening, thanks for the kind words. So now I'm early retirement, Finley.
That's okay. You just got to play with me a bit more and then you'll feel better about yourself.
And it fucking ruined my shoes because we have had rain every 5 fucking minutes here on the East Coast. So, yeah, I'm retiring. I'm over it. What about you? What have you been up to?
Man, nothing. I've been working a fair bit, as is usually the case. Been trying to surf where possible. We've got the Narrabeen Invitational this weekend coming up with Liba, so I've been putting in a couple of hours out the point, but other than that, man, not much going on. We've got a pretty stackers episode today. We've got a lot to get through. We've got sort of the Burleigh Pro wrap up, we've got a sort of surfer of the week, we've got our picks for Margies, we've got a few listener questions as well that sort of was submitted via our DMs, which are pretty interesting. So we're going to get right into it. First,
it's been a highly anticipated episode.
It has.
People have been saying, when's the Largo coming out? When's the hot goss coming out? I'm like, fuck, been brewing on it for a while.
We've got, and some of these listener questions are grouse, so
they are pretty good.
Hang on for those because they're going to be pretty entertaining.
I think before we get into it though, there's a new name. Not a new name, it's a familiar name that we all have heard before. It's been a moment, but the name is Filipe Toledo.
And
without the 2.0.
I'm really happy you left off the 2.0.
Yeah,
My guy Filipe, he's back. He obviously Gold Coast Pro winner. Just wrapped it up in fine style. He looked pretty well unstoppable throughout most of this event. Probably the closest call he had was in the final against the wildcard Julian Wilson, where he needed a high 8 at the end of the heat and he just couldn't get it. But look, Filipe's back. Get rid of the 2.0. I couldn't be happier about it.
I reckon he's on sniffing salts.
What do you put that down to?
Sniffing salts.
Yeah, but like why? Why do you think that?
Fuck, he just another gear. Like he's fucking fast again.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is at the end of the day. Like everyone fucking knows he rips.
Yeah.
And he always was going to rip. I just think he looks electric again. It's that surfing with, maybe passion again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened and only he knows or his people in his corner know, but it just looks like, maybe he heard the Largo podcast and got sick of these boring fucking people that he has no idea about calling him 2.0. He just went, fuck this, I'm going to change it.
Screw you, Zach. I'm going back to the old Filipe, and that he did. Look, probably the event was great. Like
huge success.
Yeah, they worked with what they had. They obviously had to move from Snapper to Burleigh. I mean, probably spectator-wise, as good, if not better than Snapper.
Better.
You're right there on the rocks. You've got thousands of people stood up there on the hill too.
It's a natural amphitheatre.
Yep.
Easy to kind of get to for most of the people. Fucking awful to park.
Yes.
Parking is horrendous.
Yeah.
It's actually bad just on a normal day. But they did all right. I guess there wasn't too many blow-ups. I managed to jag 2 car parks.
Yes.
On both days went down.
You got one each day?
Yep.
Nice. Look at you. Parking ferries looking after you.
Yep.
Look, obviously there was a lot that happened during the event. We're not going to go through every heat of the event because we'd be here till 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'd be fucking lights out by
then. Zach would be asleep. What we will do though, we'll go straight to the final because we've got some, like we touched on before, some listener questions that pertain to this. Zach, you had some initial thoughts on the general scoring of the final. What were you sort of thinking?
Well, this is the narrative of the final. Everyone's talking about it. It's the hot goss, you call it. The current goss.
Yeah.
Is the old scoring. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't need to go that high.
Yeah, agreed.
The waves were fun. They weren't pumping. And I think it's okay when the waves are, good.
Yeah.
That you don't need to go excellent on scores.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like they just shot themselves in the foot with those early scores. There was just nowhere else to go. And then they obviously improved. They surfed better on the later waves.
Yeah.
So they just were forced into a corner and just had to start giving out scores that I think they probably deep down know go, oh, fuck, that's pretty generous. But we're here. It'd be worse to go the other way.
Yeah.
Long story short, at the end of the day, I truly believe the best surfer won.
I agree.
He just, he was doing things that other people weren't doing. So, in my opinion, it was the right surfer won. Did it need to have 2 totals that high? Perhaps not.
No, I'm right there with you. Full credit to Julian as well. Like, I'm going to have a bit to say about him afterwards, but like, just really want to give him a rap coming from the trials. So you won all the way through the trials, made it to the final, got the job done there. And then for you to then reset and then put yourself into the final of the CT as well. It's like, that's a mammoth effort. So good on Jules.
He also went through the elimination round.
He did, yes.
He got smoked with a good heat total straight away.
Yeah.
So that would have been such a buzzkill. Like, you win the trials. He's obviously been years and years of experience. So he would have been feeling good and then got dusted by Italo and Lob straight away. So I think theoretically he surfed the most heats physically possible.
He went the hard way. He seriously, he did. He went all the way through the trials and then surfed every single heat you possibly can in the main event.
For a dad, that's pretty cool.
Pretty good. And then obviously we'll chuck the clip in, but finished off the day with a bike ride home after the presentation.
Fuck, that's so strange.
It's bizarre, right?
He looks so frazzled too. He's just in his rashy.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what time it is, but it's nighttime and he's in his rashy trying to unlock his bike. And I love that he would have gone home just like a full bland spaghetti bolognese dinner, like nothing, like a normal fucking Saturday night for him. He's just like, yeah, sweet, I'm out of here. Just got second, just got me 80K.
Tuck me kids in.
Now I'm going home with Smag Bog and watch the footy.
Yeah, that's it. Look, really admirable effort for him. We'll say though, I think I can't help but feel he let himself down a touch in the final. Now, throughout the event, kind of you tuned into his post-heat interviews and he was really upbeat and like just felt like he was taking it all in and really positive the whole way through the event. And then I just feel like he kind of went back to maybe you'd call it the old Julian, where he had a bit of a bee in his bonnet occasionally and really let his emotions show maybe too much, I feel. So obviously you all would have seen the clip of him finishing a wave and then doing the double fingers to the rocks there.
Tell you what I love about that.
What?
There's a slow-mo breakdown and he starts like so blatantly.
He looked like he was throwing up gang signs. Like it was like he might have. But
it looks like he starts so blatantly with both fingers like predominantly at the beach, and then there's like a rational thought a millisecond after, and he like brings his hands back in. And it's almost like oh fuck, man. He's like, oh my god, did I just do that?
But it was like an initial like full-blooded finger, and then it was like an erroneous like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that, and then it was like, nah, I'm committing, and then just went for it at the end. So it was kind of a few different.
It was really awkward.
Yeah, and
like I almost would have rather him just stick with it or something.
Yeah,
it was more like it was almost called a cover up.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, fuck you, oh no. I don't know. It just felt really. You know what it felt like?
What?
Like an awkward dad thing. I don't know.
In what context?
I don't know. Just like, you know, when you got a mate's dad and they try and be funny and you're like, oh, bro, just like, what are you doing? I'm pretty far off there, but.
Well, he kind of like say, committed to it and then kind of just was like, thought better of it for a brief second.
Like so quickly, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just funny to watch.
It was bizarre, and it was. I don't think it was great form from him. Now, clearing something up, it wasn't at the judges. So the judges' tower, or where they judge from, was not in the vicinity or the general direction of where he was pointing at. Who he was actually flaring up at was the countless Brazilian fans on the rocks that were...
That was hurling a bit... That was sledging.
They were.
Sledging.
They were sledging. And you might go like, oh, look, it's warranted in that case, but I just don't know if it is. Like, it kind of... Obviously, you got to stand up for yourself to an extent, but then the thing that really topped it off for me, though, which kind of soured it a touch, was when he got out the back after the ski ride and started giving it to Filipe too.
That part is strange.
That's bizarre. Now, Filipe and Julian go way back. They kind of qualified roughly like similar times, I believe, like maybe a couple of years in it. And
team riders for a long time,
or like both Hurley team riders, or Nike. Was it Nike back then?
Well, it all changed. Yeah, 2016 or some shit like that.
Yeah, but they were like obviously had some experiences together when they were younger, and I feel like they were always quite friendly with each other. And then for Julian just to point blank get out the back and start laying into him, it's sort of not. It's not a great look.
I wonder what they were saying. It's probably like Uber Tuber forever or some shit.
Well, it kind of stemmed from Filipe had prio, half paddled for the wave, and then Julian went it and he kind of broke the section down, and Julian had to sort of duck out the back, and then Filipe was out the back still, so he gets awarded priority again. And maybe that had something to do with it too, but then it kind of almost went in Julian's favour in that Filipe almost was frazzled, and he took the next wave off Julian, and the one after it was Julian needed an 8.8 at the end of the heat, and he took off and got an 8.4, so it was very nearly...
It was close.
It was close. But yeah, just like not an ideal look for Jules there. But again, I'll rephrase in saying that it's a mammoth effort to get from where he did to where he ended up, and like emotions are going to be running hot. So like you can kind of see where that's come from.
I think anyone in Jules' next tee is just going to pay someone to go down the rocks
and just
or
start
the beach and just start hurling abuse.
just start yelling at
Do you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Fucking Paul Fisher days, Fishtails on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch that series.
Yeah.
Fucking the best. And he's at Snapper Rocks with a megaphone. And he's like meter you away from Kelly Slater.
Yeah.
You can stand so close on the rocks. And he's going, Kelly, go left. Kelly, go left. Just over and over. It's so fucking funny.
Julian, if that happened to Julian, I feel like it would have been slightly more severe
If you're swinging.
consequences than some rude fingers. But
What do you think of the judging?
yeah, look, you kind of briefly went over it before. I'm kind of there with you in that I don't think the scale needed to go as high as it did. Although I don't think anyone can argue that the correct surfer won the event.
What do you think of the 9? There seems to be a bit of chat that there was slob air reverses thrown, there was barrels in there was turns, and just 2-turn combo got the highest score.
Yeah, and we'll kind of intermittently go between these listener questions because obviously they all pertain to Burleigh. And that was by far, like we were going to try and just like do some shout outs for people that actually said them in the comments, but there's probably 10 or more people that actually asked this one. So we're not going to do that for this particular question. But the most popular question in our DMs was, how was that 2-turn wave in 9.07?
What's your thoughts?
I personally, to me, that was wave of the heat. That was the best wave surfed in that final. Do I think they needed to go as high as a 9.07? No, I don't. But in order to ensure that the scale of the final was met and kept in a linear fashion, they had to. It's all sort of pretty well publicised that the WSL judging criteria, and it sounds corny as hell, but at every event, speed, power, flow. That's the big 3 basically keywords they're looking for in a score. And you can't do any more of that than what Filipe did on that wave. He was turning as fast as you could turn. He was turning pretty well as powerfully, like on a small wave at Burleigh. It was probably 3 foot, but that's as hard as you can turn a surfboard on a wave that big. And the flow, it was back-to-back 2 huge maneuvers. It's exactly the judging criteria, and because of that, it had to go huge. And the 9.07, in my opinion, was warranted, given that 8s had already been thrown out in the heat. They had to go high. That's my answer to the question.
Finley, that is a fucking 10 out of 10 stellar answer.
Response? Thank you.
I'm not even going to add on to it because it's perfectly summarised there. I don't think it's a 9.
No.
When you look at it in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, when you've already got high 8s,
you have to
just go forward of that.
So for everyone in the DMs asking, and it wasn't even just in our DMs, it was pretty widely.
Talk of the town.
Yeah, like on Instagram too. You look at every bloody comment section. It's how it was Filipe's a 9. That, in my opinion, is how it was a 9. And
it's interesting. Stab just did their podcast as well, and they asked some reputable names.
Yeah,
they all agree.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's the people who probably are a lifetime away from it being able to achieve that, and they just see big airs, and yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But fuck, those 2 turns together. Yeah. Combined, fucking hell. That's very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, and it's easy to like kind of, for people that aren't as clued in on surfing as others, like you see that and you're like, oh, like the board didn't leave the water. How are you getting a 9 when you're not doing an air or something? And it's like, you don't have to. You can do turns to get a 9. And
just ask Ethan.
Well, ask Ethan. And for the waves that were coming through, Filipe couldn't have done any more on that wave, and the 9.07, given the scale of the heat, completely warranted in my opinion. So that's my answer to that one.
I didn't think Filipe's tube was an 8.
Yeah, so that one was a bit of a strange score.
I felt like that was a board rider's 8.
It was like the barrels at Burleigh, they're not super they're not really getting your heart rate up. It's not a risky thing to do.
I felt like if the event wasn't on, there was 50 people out there, you would have saw a similar barrel.
Yeah, for sure. You would have seen, buddy.
The skill level was not even close to being an 8, in my opinion. I wrote it down a 6.
Any Quicksilver Grom or Billabong Grom would go out in a free surf and get a barrel as good as that, if not better. You know what I mean? It's a very, very easy thing for someone of even an adequate skill level to pull off.
Yeah.
And look, they were rewarding barrels, but that one was pretty low risk. Unless the only way I can see that is like the turn was pretty intense after. It was a very good turn.
Good word, intense. It wasn't polished.
No.
It felt like a little jagged,
Yeah.
kind of. Like it's almost like he had so much speed and then just like hit a speed bump.
Yeah.
And it just threw a lot of spray.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't. I think that's where we began to fall off the old bandwagon with judging, in my opinion.
Yeah. And essentially back to the question before, that's why Filipe's wave needed to be a 9 because the wave previous was an 8 or a mid 8. And
Can I just judging? It's purely subjective.
Yep.
Not even an ounce of objectiveness to it because an error verse could be a 1 and a 10.
Yeah. To a degree. You could do a chop up and it'd be like a 2, I guess.
It'd have to be a 1.
Or a 1.5 or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So you agree it's purely subjective?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how big the move is, but yeah, it is.
Do you follow snowboarding?
I don't.
They are 1 to 100.
On a scale of 100.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds the same, but it's so different. And the reason why is because if someone gets like a 60 and then someone gets a 68, it's so much different. But they're kind of in the same ballpark, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's like in a math test. If you got 60 out of 100 and I got 68, I'm a bit better.
Yeah.
But in surfing world, I feel like there is fuck all difference between a 6.33 and a 6.83.
And I'll tell you what I like about that as well for surfing is that exactly what you just said there. So like technically you could look at surfing as if it's on a scale of 1 to 100 because there's essentially 100 units of measurements they can use because you've got your, say you get a 6.83, you got a 6.83, which would translate to like a 68.3, if that makes sense on the snowboarding scale. But it's just hard, I think, for a lot of people to understand and to even justify like how someone can get, say, a 6.83 on a wave and then someone can get a flat 7. How have you judged those two waves 0.17 apart?
That's a bee stick.
It's nothing in it, and it's also
But so much in it.
Yeah.
Like the wave can be so different.
It can be a completely different looking wave, and you can also have in that like one of the judges could have given that score higher than the other person's, but then that one drops out because they do the average thing. I think they're working with the best scale that they could use for surfing judging because you drop the high score, you drop the low score, and then you average out the middle 3. So I think it's fair in that regard. But yeah, maybe like
they do that in snow though.
Yeah, but like maybe with that sort of 1 to 100 where you're just getting a flat, is that right? You just get a 68. You wouldn't get like a 68.5 or something, would you?
I'd have to check. I actually don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really giving a fuck about the tenths and the hundreds.
No,
so.
but like I feel like people would just understand a little bit more. You go like, all right, that's a 68, that's a 65, say, and it's like there's a touch in it, but I don't know. I just feel like the decimals really wigs people out sometimes because it's like, how is one slightly better? I
just don't think anyone gives a fuck about the tenths and the hundreds. It's just
and then the other
whatever it starts with.
Yeah,
that's it. And then you could say whatever you wanted after. It's no one's gonna listen.
And also like occasionally you'll have a tie in a heat, and it's like, how can you have a tie?
There can't be ties.
You can't have a tie.
You just can't.
Nah.
Maybe in a wave pool. Maybe.
Not even, but like
even,
you
really.
can't. Like it's just like we can argue or not argue, but we can sort of dabble in this until the cows come home.
Look, we're on the topic of judging, and I just had a bit of a thought while I nearly fucking ran up the arse of someone in traffic in Burleigh Heads today on the way home. Maybe there's a discussion there
For sure. No, I agree, and I feel like it's something with all the changes that could maybe be looked at. But for now, I think they are doing the best they can do. I don't think it needs to be huge changes made to that specifically, but maybe a different scale just for like even newcomers to the sport where they're not going, all right, well, they to me look pretty similar, but like one's like 0.5 more or one, you know what I mean? Like I feel like if you have whole numbers, just work with that.
Yeah.
Then basically to end that final, the ski driver.
Fuck, that was funny.
And I just want to comment as well on just sort of before we move on completely from Julian, and we were kind of talking about the semi blow up that not even semi blow up, the blow up that he had at Filipe.
He apologised after.
He apologised after, but like I feel like it speaks to the the quality of the man that Filipe is now as well. Like, he came in, didn't say a single bad thing about Julian on this, like, straight after the heat. There was no like, oh, like, F you, Julian, you know, like Julian had a crack at me, like, didn't complain or anything. And then even to the point where
he didn't do a Medina. Fuck
no,
you, Glenn Macro.
Yeah, he didn't do it. He didn't do Medina. And he even commented on, there was a post of when like Filipe winning and getting the trophy or whatever, and he even commented like to Julian, like, well done. So I think it just speaks to Filipe, really good character. And I can guarantee you, if it was the other way around and Filipe had a crack at Julian wouldn't be so kind to Filipe. That's for sure.
There's just people that are like, I don't know him personally, and fuck, his family's going to say he's the most wonderful man alive, and all his close friends are. Totally get that. But like,
can I just interject there? I think it's pretty widely known that he's hard to deal with. I think across the board, there's been pretty Stab, especially done a series where they essentially, a number of people came out and said how difficult he is from a business sense and probably a personal sense too.
Yeah, I just, like, you listen, I swear it's his mannerisms, hey, it's just very strange to get a read on.
It just seems like someone who has always been the poster boy, and he's always like, his talent was there from the get-go. He's always been put on a pedestal, and it seems like he's gotten used to that. And it will, if you're treated that way, it's going to have some effect on your character. You're going to get used to that, and it's nice. And I can imagine you wouldn't want to ever not have that. Yeah. So I think, look, it's just the price that comes with.
I really want to fucking love him. Yeah. I just haven't found a way to do it. And one of the funny things was he did a podcast just before the event, or even during the event. Yeah. They're like, oh, so he's obviously going through the Challenger Series to get back on the tour.
Hello Sport, shout out as well.
Yeah, I think it was Hello Sport. Yeah. And they asked, oh, so you're going for the world champion? He's like, nah. Yes. I don't think they were ready for that answer. No. They've gone, because the standard process is, yeah, I'm training, I'm doing fucking whatever, and I want to hold the trophy at the end of the year. He just goes, nah. But the answer was really strange. It was like, it was something like, oh, I want my kids to see, you know, what I used to do. Yeah. And I felt like just sending him some YouTube and just saying there's about 9 years worth of stuff that you could show him. Yeah. And I've been, you know, we've spoken about it in previous podcasts, you know.
It was a weird...
I feel like he's been wronged, and he wants to... He's out to get someone. There's someone still in the draw like Jordy Smith that he's like, nah, fuck him, I'm coming back. Yeah. I feel like I get this weird sense, like, I just don't think he's super bubbly, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
He's coming back for vengeance. Look, it was a weird response, wasn't it? I'd also heard that, and I was just waiting for the sort of the generic, oh yeah, you know, like, just, I'm going to put myself up there with the world's best. And like, if you're not going for the title, it's a waste of time. And he just point blank just went, nah, I'm not interested in that. It's like,
I think it was those words. Yeah. I'm not interested in the world title. Yeah. I think for someone who was in the trials that he knocked out, probably not the right answer they wanted to hear. But
for sure,
to be honest, look, like I said, I'm struggling to jump on the Jules wagon. But fuck, I love that he's honest. I love that he's not here just fucking circle jerking everyone. He's going, yeah, I'm the fucking best and whatever. He's just raw, honest, being true to himself.
I kind of back it in a way. Like, we did just sort of give him a bit of a rinsing, but I kind of back that. Like, if you're not like, there's only 5 people in a season that probably can win the title, just talent based, really. There's always going to be sort of 15 to 20 other guys that are just there making up the numbers and just there sort of paving out a career for themselves, making some decent prize money. That's fine. Like, you can do that.
100%.
Like, just go and if you obviously you want to, for your sponsors, for your coach, for everything, you want to at least aspire for something greater and try and win that title. But probably deep down, I feel like a lot of them just go, I'm probably not going to win the title, and I'm happy with just qualifying each year and staying on tour, making my
lifestyle.
Yeah. Living a great lifestyle, take your family with you, make good coin. Like, I do back that response from Julian. So that's probably maybe one redeeming factor from...
He just does these weird things, like, as funny as it was, like riding off at night on his bike.
Yeah.
With his rashy on.
That was bizarre.
Rather than going and smacking fucking 100 margies at the
Maybe
Pav.
was that why he rode off though? Because he just smashed 100 margies, or he just...
I'm not sure.
Yeah, mate, we need to check on that.
Yeah.
We'll go to some more of these listener questions though, because we kind of whittled it down to sort of 5, just because we do have such a lot of stuff to get through tonight. That first one was the Filipe Toledo one, 9.07. That was the biggest question, but we did have some others. So Lennox Smith, kind of mimicking our sentiments before. Scoring was cricket, which is a Lennoxism. That's a word that he likes to use, which basically just means shit. Yep. I'm not going to read out the middle part of that quote because it was a bit.
Yeah, it'll get us in trouble.
Probably will get us in trouble. We'll probably get Lennox in trouble, so we'll leave it out. And then he finished off though. He's kind of like a little.
This part is true.
This was a bit of a sandwich. It was like good point, probably get cancelled point, and then good point at the end. So we'll call it a cancellation sandwich. He ends it with JS surfboards are the best. Now, are they? I
think they
they've
are.
made a bit of a resurgence in recent times. Every few years we do get this little sort of like one shapered sort of stands out from the rest. And in previous years, it's been Mayhem was thriving, and to an extent they still are. Like they're probably leading those shaper rankings that they do, but in the defense of the other shapers, almost everyone rides Mayhem surfboard, so you can't really look into that too much.
Sharp Eye was a big one.
Sharp Eye, they had their massive sort of surge in popularity, and it seems like now maybe that is dwindling a touch.
I reckon that was the fucking Rio. Before he was on tour, he's doing those huge punts at like Karamas and stuff.
Yeah.
And then surfing Padma, like fucking crazy shit. I reckon he was one of the people that
he was making them look good for sure.
And Kanoa was obviously on there before him, but that was sensational.
And we did, like, just on that as well, we did sort of have Cam from the Sunny Coast, Ruka team rider, correct?
Yeah.
He's a big friend of the pod, Cam. He gave us a little bit of an insight. He reckons he saw Jack Robinson taking a little stroll around Cooley with Mr. JS. So keep an eye on that.
I think I've heard a few little whispers of perhaps a little change coming up.
So just keep
your eye. Do you reckon, like, before that news breaks, someone like Kanoa's like, fuck, now my board's going to take like 4 days.
Probably.
3 days.
He's probably just, well, like, you, they'd
have to be getting 50 boards a year.
For sure. And as a shaper
which is
as well.
one a week.
Like, for Kanoa, he's probably elevated himself now to, like, JS's premier team rider, I guess. Like, obviously, they've got some really good athletes on tour, but Kanoa's the highest.
Almost at the top.
Yeah, he's the highest seeded as it stands. So for him, like, he'd be going, all right, JS is really taking his time on my boards. He's really making sure I'm getting the best product possible here. And then to now maybe have, like, Jack Robbo, who is up the top of the rankings battling with him. It's like a bit of a weird one for Kanoa. But back to Leno's point, that this seems maybe like this is the year JS has a bit of a resurgence, like kind of been a little bit since Joel was...
Maybe not this year. I reckon it'll need a year to shake out.
Into like the next year or so.
Yeah, because there is those shaper rankings, but I don't think that's...
There's probably just not enough JS riders on tour to factor... Like when you have so many people on Mayhems, just doesn't really matter what you do. But yeah, look, someone to keep an eye on with Jack there, and also someone to keep an eye on just in general with, like, are we going to see more surfers head towards JS? Because the two biggest shaper changes in the last sort of 6 months was Kanoa to JS, and now potentially could be Jack to JS from Sharp Eye, who were pretty much the leading shapers. So
somebody getting fired.
Yes, interesting there. The other one, another question, Andrew Sageman, 22. How hungry does JW look? And we kind of just really touched on that, like, to the point where he kind of let his emotions get the better of him in the final, but, like, bloke's looking hungry, and doesn't matter how much we like the bloke, to get from the trials into the final, you've got to want it. And he just kept building his performance all the way through the event. He does note here though as well, hope he doesn't lose it groveling on the Challenger.
Yeah, fuck, that's playing on the mind of everyone.
Yeah.
That was really fun, Burleigh, and he fucking capitalised, but he's about to go to fucking blown out fucking Newey.
Sorry, yeah.
And then he's going to go to blown out fucking Irasira and Zach Godemma.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be interesting.
Look, the Challenger Series has swallowed up many a good surfer, and
but he did win the QS 1000 at Newey.
He did,
which was in pretty. There was one day that was okay, and then the rest of the event was pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But allegedly was pushed through a bit down there. That was
Okay.
a pretty blatant one. I heard. I wasn't there present, but apparently, I think it was Axel Kuroda. Definitely beat him. Everyone was like congratulating him, and then he did. Jules just somehow won.
Okay, right,
or got
interesting.
second or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't hear that one, but yeah. Look, I mean, he's putting himself in the mix, and look, for his sake, I hope he does crack it, because he obviously belongs on tour. Like you see, the surfing he was doing this week, it's pretty outstanding. So yeah.
Tell you what was criminal.
What?
WSL were like when the heat's over and it comes up with the scores and like their faces. They were using his photo from like 2015 when he was on fucking Quicksilver or some shit with a full lick of hair.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
I reckon. Do you reckon he's like,
they must have adjusted it come the end of the event, because I definitely did see a bald one. Yeah.
Go back through the into the event and watch the heat analyzer, and I assure you, there's heats where he's got full head of hair. And it looks really healthy.
Right.
So it'd have to be almost half a decade old. More.
It did. It left him quite quickly, didn't it? The hair.
Well, I think he didn't go through that in-between baseball pitch stage. He just went, fuck, this thing's going.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, go skinny.
Next one, Daniel.Semo. Morgs belongs on tour. That's the first part of this question.
Fact.
Tick.
Yep. Fact.
Just like really demoing crew all the way through events. He's last 2 wildcard opportunities he's had, really made the most of both of them.
Fucking oath.
So big tick there. Next point, Flick Palmateer should say less. Tick.
No comment.
Tick for Zach as well. And then
What I have noticed with Flick though, and I don't know if it's purposeful or whether they've kind of said so, is she'll be talking and then when someone stands up, she pauses and like waits for someone to jump in.
like Ronnie to take over.
Ronnie to take over,
yeah.
just the breakdown of like the wave. And to be honest, I've commentated a few times in my life and the breakdown is so hard. Like it fucking is. And it's happening in real time at fast pace and you're trying to speak to it.
And you don't want to sound like a loser as well. Like you don't want to say like, oh yeah, like just
But here's the thing, like Filipe's turn, right? Like 2 turns so quick.
Yeah.
You can't be talking about the first turn on the third turn and be like fucking delayed response all the way through.
Yeah.
While he's paddling back out, you're still breaking down like the end turn.
There's still
so
like
it needs to be like short, sharp, precise, fucking bang, 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 bang.
he's like he's on his second turn and she's still rattling off like where he was born.
Something like that. I've just noticed it's quite funny, but
that's interesting. I'll keep an ear out for that too. And then the final point, 3 good points here from Daniel actually. Too many ad breaks during the finals, and I just extend this to the whole event. Too many ad breaks.
No, not even an event.
Just
fucking WSL in general.
Yeah, too many. Like I don't need to see 73 ads for Bonsoy in a day.
The worst ones, it just says, we'll be right back. And it's just a static photo. At least give me something.
Just play it without commentary. You're not even showing in like a commercial for a company. It's just, you just can't be bothered to keep the webcast going. It's like, just put it on the surfers. Let me see a wide angle. So at least while you're on break, I can watch some surf still and get an idea of what happened.
It was funny down there watching it live. It was quite difficult to watch it because there was heats with like Lob and Lob and who did he verse then?
Was it earlier on in the event?
Early, yeah, and he went up the point and I'm pretty sure it was not Seth, not Barron.
Lobby, I'll pull it up.
Maybe it was. Anywho.
Griffin.
It
was Griffin.
Griffin paddled out pretty much on the beachy.
Yep.
And Lob was way out on Burleigh Point, you call it.
Yeah.
And, Lob got that first wave and went fucking town. And then I wanted to watch the replay. And you turn around and you look up and there's just, someone making a fucking coffee on the ad break. And you're like, well, the most exciting part of the heat can go for 35 minutes and you might get 4 waves.
Yeah.
And you didn't even fucking film one. It's like one job. Just don't fucking go to break when they're, you know.
When the action's on.
When the action's on.
Yeah. Right there with you. So, yeah, Daniel, good comment there, I guess. He pretty much nailed all of them. Final one, though, and it's just really a good summary for the event, which was from _Ola_Ver. I'm assuming his name's Oliver.
Oliver.
One of the best comps in the last 5 years besides the judging. And it kind of was. Waves weren't amazing. So you kind of
they were readily available, and it was what makes it good is back-to-back exchanges.
Yeah. Lots of waves ridden, no real dead points, you know, like there were heats that maybe were a bit slower, but like there's lots of, you could go down to the beachy and surf, like there was opportunity coming from Bells and in El Salvador, where probably the waves, you could argue they were bigger at least, but you had heats where there was like 2 waves ridden and you're just like, this is hard to watch, where kind of you go to this, I mean, from a beach goer perspective, I think probably up there with like say snapper, probably pipe as well, like just in terms of where you're standing and in closeness to the action.
You could,
right there.
For anyone who's not familiar, you could easily throw a rock and hit a surfer in the head.
Yes.
If you really didn't like them.
For sure.
You definitely could injure them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of agree. Like there's been, I feel like we've been cruelled a little bit in the last few years with forecast as well. Like we get a really good Chopes forecast or something, it's going to blow that out of the water. And we probably, in the last 5 years, we've probably had that too. There's been some pretty impressive waves, like whether they were Olympics or whether they were WSL like CT events. We've had some really good competition days and good waves, but just like the whole atmosphere of that event was pretty impressive from what it could have been. Like could have just been really poor snapper with no beach, and they just really took it and ran with it. And I mean, it's probably one of the more entertaining comps I've seen in a while for sure. And
very entertaining if you were there.
Yes.
Present. There was a stone and wood bar. There was a big stage where they had the surfing just like live and whatnot. DJ there. Spider Bay played. Bad Dreams played. There was a VIP bar on top of Burleigh Pav. There was, Boost Mobile had like a activation. There was a riding bull, mechanical bull. There was fuckloads of shit. There was food vans.
Yeah, right.
I feel like if you were walking down, you were just general public, you'd be going, fuck, I could spend the next 3 hours here, 4 hours here.
And I saw, obviously, we're big Titans fans as well. The current 5'8" of the Titans, AJ Brimson, he actually owns a property, like a Airbnb or whatever, that overlooks Burleigh Headland, and obviously wasn't occupied at the time because he had we had a famous win on the weekend. He had all the lads up there, all the boys in his little sort of balcony area and just overlooking the comp. And it was like, that's the best seat in the house right there. That was so sick to see. So yeah, I just wanted to throw in that basically the Titans got a win as well because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, you massaged that one in there. Yeah, I'll let it slide. You got it in. Yeah. But another big plus for the WSL crew, if they are listening, the catering in the athlete zone was so much fucking better at the Goldie one than it was at Bells. You got
admission to make as well about you.
I do. So catering was so good that I ate a lot.
I wasn't that I was thinking of. You did a number on the catering.
Oh yes, I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll get to that. Actually, no, I'll start with that. Yeah. So because to get in, so yeah, I used my Rip Curl Bells Beach wristband to get in there. They're the same colour. So anyone out there next year, if you get a wristband at one of the events, just keep it. And I'm guessing if you're going to WA, just keep it from the other events. It's probably going to be the same. But anyway, I walked in there as a bit of an imposter, and then found myself staring down a long line of people lining up for the lunch, the free lunch. And I was like, oh, sweet, had a look, and fuck, man, it was like chicken wings, like these chicken wings without like the bones and shit, Thai beef salad, greens, fuck, you name it, they had it. It was sensational. It wasn't like finger food. Bells was super finger foody, like little fucking brioche buns and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I took it upon myself to to get my money's worth, even though it was free.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of food, and I went pretty big on the Thai beef salad. It was really good. Driving home on the highway, found myself making an emergency exit, like off the highway. And I don't know about you, Finley, but when you need to go to the toilet and you just know it's going to be horrific, you're like between, for anyone who's local to the Gold Coast, I was between Burleigh and Chinderah.
Right.
There's no service stations
You're in
like
the
that are just
desert.
like one of those ones that just exit off the off ramp and then there's a servo.
Yeah.
I found myself down the streets of Burleigh trying to find like a pub just to go in and ruin their dunny and come back out, which I did. And I didn't even make it home without making another stop. So, yeah, bit of trash talk right now. But
You're a disgrace, mate. It's despicable behaviour.
I think I got karma for getting about 3 people's portions of food.
You shouldn't have been there to begin with either. You
100%.
didn't have the wristband.
No.
So, yeah, look, it got its revenge on you.
Don't hate the player.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's a really good segue, Zach, into something that you brought up, and we're about to move on from Burleigh. We got our surprises and disappointments to get through, but just one more thing before we get into that. The Betty Lou
Vaheen.
and Vaheen situation. Now, she didn't really need to do this because, like, I feel like she had the heat anyway.
It was close.
It was close, but
Vaheen had the highest wave. She had a 7. So, yeah, it comes down to whether that wave was going to be of consequence.
for sure. She actually had priority. Vaheen was in front of her, and there was a lot of people sort of like almost blowing up that Betty Lou essentially used her priority to force a priority interference. A wave came, she positioned herself behind Vaheen and paddled for it, pretty much running into Vaheen, but in doing so, that was a block as seen by the judges, and that becomes a priority interference. So Vaheen loses her second scoring wave, and
Completely.
she's no chance of making the heat at that point because I believe Betty Lou had already eclipsed
She had
10
a
points.
6
Yeah.
or something.
So essentially, Betty Lou gets a 3. All of a sudden, she needs a 9. You know what I mean? So it pretty much takes you out of the heat. What was your thoughts on that initially?
It was strange.
Yeah.
And I definitely, I rewinded it and had a look. I don't think it was intentional
Right.
at first. It wasn't premeditated, put it that way. It was just an opportunity arose and she was just happened to be behind her. Whether it was intentional, I have no idea. But yeah, it happened, I guess.
Yeah.
And it actually goes back to what we talked about last week with Crosby and Joel Vaughan.
Yep.
Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who's at fault, who did what. It's just what it is.
Yep.
And
I don't think there's as well, there's no one really debating that it wasn't or wasn't an interference. It had to be because she blocked her.
at the end of the day, she was in front of a surfer trying to paddle for a wave.
But there was some people being critical of is that sort of ethical, not ethical, but is that...
Morally.
Yeah, is it a moral move to make in a heat, to pretty well take your competitor out? And in my opinion, yes, it's completely fine to do that.
Show me the money, mate. I'm doing that to you every day of the
100%.
week. Every day.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. That is literally exactly what came to my mind when I thought that. And for anyone that watches the NRL as well on the weekend, not similar, it's a very different sport, but a similar moral situation, appeared
This is new to me.
at the end of the South Sydney and Broncos game. You had Latrell Mitchell. Basically, he just slotted a 50-metre field goal, which, if you're not aware of this, Zach, it's 2 points to win the game. So he got the ball, kicked it from 50 out, won him the game, and then they got the ball back on their try line. Time was dead set. There was about a second left. Latrell gets the ball from dummy half, sort of takes a knee, and the Broncos lads, they just sort of, they know they've lost at that point, so they just go, oh, let's just walk off. And then he just looks up and goes, oh, sweet, and just dives over the try line. And there was people Latrell's a really polarizing figure in footy. Whatever he does
It's the most anticlimactic try I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well, he he's always...
That's a prank.
Yeah,
That's like Scotty P and the fucking ninjas without the ninjas being there.
Well, and it wasn't like, to me, that he kind of got criticised a fair bit after that in the media. Like, people were going, oh, like that's a bad move from him. Like, why did he do that? It's poor sportsmanship. No, it's not. Like, if you're a Broncos player, go and put a hand on him and tackle him and make sure that he doesn't score.
I see both sides.
Yeah. No, I'm complete. I feel really strongly about both of these being in similar circumstances where, like, the Broncos lads just gave up. They just went, all right, game's over, we're done. He's got every right to jump over the try line at that stage.
Was there like literally seconds left?
There was the time the hooter had gone and they just all walked off, and he just went, sweet, I'll just score a try. And
because the ball was in play.
It was still in play. Like, he had it in his hands and he kind of just took a knee. And all that someone would have to do in that situation is put a hand on him and it's tackle complete. No one touched him, and he just went, sick, I'll just jump over the try line.
Freebie.
Yeah, so he gets criticised for everything, and sort of like, it is maybe a bit of a stretch, but like, you've got to, if you're playing a game or you're doing a professional sport and you're a professional athlete, like, you got to be ruthless. And in both situations, like, I back 100% either of those situations. Like, they're completely fine. You shouldn't get criticised for being a dog, you know? Like, it's literally what they were doing. They were dogging their way around, and I back him to the hills. So,
and don't high five Slater at pipe.
No, you don't do that.
That won't work. I think that's Goldie.
Yeah, well, we'll do the surprise and disappointments quickly.
Yep.
So we'll get into the surprises first, Zach. So I'll start with mine, and this is someone that I really never thought I'd be plugging on this podcast. Alejo Muniz. Very impressive, the result he's got here. And, man, his style's questionable, to say the least. It's really questionable. Have you seen his wetsuit sponsor?
No,
it's called Zah, Z-A-H. And that's like how he looks when he's surfing. That's the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, it's almost like onomatopoeia.
Yeah, it's like every turn is Zah.
Yeah.
He has a very questionable style, but his hunger to compete on this world stage.
I think every Brazilian's hunger's
for sure. But this is a guy that had 8 years off tour, had a kid or maybe a couple of kids, and managed to grind his way back through the QS and get back on. And he was looking very, very likely to drop off tour before this event. And he just surfed his way through this event all the way up to, and I'm pretty certain, I'll just double check, it was the semi-finals he got to. Only beaten by Filipe in that heat.
Yep.
Still put together a really good heat, 14 points or so. But in doing so, he's moved up 12 spots in the rankings to 16th. He's pretty well secured his spot on tour for next year. So
Sportsbet would have been paying like $3,000 for that.
Oh man, like he's looked pretty avo for most of this year, but stoked for him. Like, we in our initial episode when we sort of went through all the qualifiers and gave him a wrap. Like, I don't know how sort of friendly we were to Alejo. We'd have to check the tapes on that. But God, man, I'm like, it's a real feel good story. I'm stoked for him that he's managed to jump up the.
No, good on him.
Yeah, for sure. Who's yours? Who's your surprise?
My surprise was Morgs.
Right.
And I think he was surprised. Number one, to be in the event.
Yes.
His entry into the Burleigh Pro was unorthodox, to say the least.
Not often a pregnancy, like a birth, gets you.
No, but not even like... Usually people pull out before day one.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Ryan pulled out...
Well, we covered this in the first one.
Yeah.
So he basically got in the elimination round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is strange. Most people just go, okay, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
No worries. But Ryan did plan to actually come up, and obviously had his daughter Penelope. So yeah, he would have been shocked, number one, Morgs, to get the call. So he would have been frantically, fucking... Look, he's fit and fucking healthy and young.
Yeah.
Young whippersnapper. Would have been pretty good to go, ready and roaring. But to put on a performance similar to Bell's the week after it's finished, that's tough on the brain.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think about the dopamine high that he would have had, and then a natural crash a week after, not knowing that he's in the next event. Probably just starting to go, I can start to let my hair down a bit. Like I'm recovering, and then, someone goes, mate, you're in. And you go, fuck. All right. So for me, he is my surprise, and I'm not surprised he got the result, but I am surprised he got the result that close to such a good result.
He maintained.
How many times have we seen someone do really good, then just on the next one?
Well, that's it. Like maintaining that high level of performance across 2 events, one of which he wasn't even sure he was going to be in. Like it's impressive to say the least. Disappointments now. I'm going to lead off with mine, which is not someone again that, whereas Alejo was someone I didn't think I'd be mentioning in the surprises.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be mentioning this bloke.
These 2 names are usually in the conversation, but flipped around.
Switched around. Ethan Ewing.
Yeah.
Like really disappointing heat from him. He lost in the round of 32, I believe, which is like for him, it's just an absolute shocker.
Griffin. No, it wasn't Griffin.
No, it was Morgs.
Morgs
dusted him. Ethan in his heats, he has pretty well like a formula that he kind of takes him to success quite more often than not. And he's generally a really patient surfer, waits for the sort of 2 best waves of the heat, surfs them to completion and gets 2 big scores. That's kind of his recipe for success. And it seemed like in this heat, he kind of, I don't know, he almost like changed tactics to try and beat Morgs. I
agree.
And it played right into Morgan's hands. Like he took off early in like a weird move for him on a small wave, still got like an okay score, like a 5.5 or something from memory, but just like a really poor wave choice. And then it kind of just left Morgs out the back, and he just fully capitalized, got a couple of good, like decent scores. It wasn't like he still put up 10 points, Ethan, so he didn't get like smoked, and he was in with a shot at the end of the heat, but it just really felt like he tried too hard in this heat to beat Morgs, and that might be like the effect that Morgs is having on these top sort of tier surfers, and just full giant killing mode at the moment. Maybe they're overthinking their heats of him, but disappointing heat from Ethan and a disappointing result, but a blip on the radar, and he'll come back at Margies, don't you worry.
He's still second.
He's right up there, man.
If he's still second after...
No, he's actually 5th.
Yeah, so he did drop.
He dropped.
I know
spots.
He didn't drop after Bells, which was a pretty bad result for him as well. So to still be in the top 5 for 2 pretty subpar results for him it just goes to show how well he's actually going, though.
Definitely.
If you zoom out and have a look on a wider lens.
Yeah. Who's your disappointment?
Mine was Jackson Bunch, after giving him such a good rap previously.
Yeah.
Just I don't think his surfing looked out of place.
Yeah.
Just didn't really connect with Burleigh.
Sure.
Like others were. So I thought he was just going to kind of listen to the potty, maybe get a bit of inspiration from us and go all the way, but didn't come to fruition for him.
Wasn't to be. Like that electric backhand, I was pretty confident he'd do all right too.
Yep.
And just really never got going, did he? No. So a bit of a shame there for Jackson, and he is in a bit of a precarious spot now in the rankings, which I guess we'll just go straight into now. So the men's CT rankings. Look, special mention as well. We didn't really go into it before we get into the rankings. Sorry, we didn't really go into it. The women's event, like Sal Fitz, really sort of vintage showing from her there. Really just kind of, I don't know, found something and got herself all the way to the final, which would have been paying $150 to 1 if you kind of had a look at the start of the event. She kind of just found a bit of I don't know, something from 2007, I guess.
Almost landed an air reverse.
She tried 400 in the final and didn't land one. But she has now elevated herself in the rankings.
We said she needed a miracle, and fuck, did she get the miracle?
No. So she second place.
What, she's gone from 40th to 41st.
She's gone from pretty well. I don't know what she. No, she didn't change her ranking.
Oh no, Sal! Come on.
With a second place, she didn't move up. So
that illustrates clearly
how bad she was going. So she's still in 15th spot, but in saying that, she's a much closer 16th spot than she was before. But yeah, really good showing from Sal, and
just narrowed the gap. Got a really good result and narrowed the gap.
Betty Lou
On the bottom.
Betty Lou takes it out. We just didn't really wrap it because Sal kind of got to the final and, like we said before, just started freestyling and really didn't go.
What was the heat total?
She got 7 somehow, but she pretty well went for an air on every wave, and I don't know if she's ever landed one, Zach.
Yeah, maybe not a move to throw 7 at if your success rate is not great.
Yeah.
She is no stranger to a little reverse though.
She can throw down a little grab
She's
rail
done
reverse.
many of those.
For sure. So probably...
Hey, good luck. Fuck. I love that she's going for it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not my flavour, but...
Better than sort of some of the other approaches where they sort of a bit more tentative. Like, she was at least going for it, but I mean, it was never really going to work for her in that heat because Betty Lou just took it to her. And she didn't really need to change her approach too much. She was putting up 7s in a lot of her heats. Like, I feel like she could have done that again. Other honourable mention though, Erin Brooks didn't make the final.
She was about to get the 2.0 put on.
Yeah,
but not anymore.
Nah, man, like she dropped she dropped 2 9s throughout the event, and
they were fucking great waves.
She put 17, nearly 18 points on Steph Gilmore in the first.
Steph Gilmore got what they called waxed.
Yes, she did.
Done.
She also didn't lose in an elimination round though, so
yep.
She lost in the quarterfinals.
I get it. I'm a fuckwit.
But yeah, probably those 2 honourable mentions to them, and obviously Betty Lou for winning the event.
Her backhand man's insane.
Yeah.
The only thing, and this is harshly critical, she's so small, like her build.
She's tiny.
It still feels grommy.
Yeah.
But the way she fucking surfs is incredible. I reckon if you threw her in some men's heats, should fucking really upset some crew.
At Burleigh, in those waves, she looked levels faster than the rest of the tour.
Exactly. Electric, fast, blowtail finners, and coming out of it, not like, oh, fuck, I did a finner. It's like, it was...
Straight into the next turn.
It was calculated.
Yeah.
It was everything that she was planning to do. So, fuck me, if she can keep doing that, she's going to really elevate herself.
Definitely. Okay, we'll just swiftly move on onto the rankings now. So we'll go through the ladies' rankings first, just because we're on there. So your top 5 on the ladies' side, you've got Gabby Bryan, Katie Simmers, Molly Picklum, Izzy Nichols, and Tyler Wright just hanging on there in 5th spot. And I'd reckon I don't think it's going to hold. Betty Lou's hot on her heels with that win, so I think she will probably jump herself in there. Caroline Marks is down at 7th spot. Probably not this season she thought she'd be having after a couple of world titles.
No.
She's really sort of... I mean, look, it's long season to go, so there's every chance she can find her way up there. But look, she'd be wanting to start soon because a few 9th places in a row, which on the ladies' side is a pretty poor result for her.
For sure.
She's straggling. On the sort of either side of the cut line, you've got Luana Silva and Sawyer Lindblad. They're just inside. They're on about 22 to 23,000 points each.
Yeah, interesting to see Sawyer slowly falling down the ladder.
Yeah, I think she'll be okay. Yeah. I think she'll come good. On the other side though of the cut line, and obviously we'll get into Margie's soon, but that is where the cut is taken.
Harsh spot for a cut.
Really is. Really difficult venue. Lakey Peterson in at 11th, so she's 1 spot under. Vaheen Fierro, 12. I don't think Lakey's going to get in. I do think Vaheen will sneak her way in. I think she can get a really good result.
I back it.
At Margie's.
Yep.
Bella Kenworthy, it's a no from me. I don't think she's got anything. I don't think Margie's is a place she's going to succeed at. Brissa Hennessy, though, in at 14th. She only needs... she's not that far behind.
Yeah, I think that could change.
I think she's someone that could jump in there too. Sally, no. Sorry, Sal. So that's the ladies' sort of rankings there. We'll go into now the men's. So your top 5 on the men's: Italo, Yago, Geordie, Kanoa, Ethan. Pretty cool top 5.
It's changing.
It's a pretty cool top 5, if you ask me.
Yeah. Pretty OG.
Yeah. Filipe Toledo, just after having a pretty average year so far. He's in a 6, so he's probably going to, you'd have to think, with the events that are coming up, he's going to make his way back in that top 5.
So he's had some really good performances at Margie's main break.
He has. As well, though,
look out.
You've got Trestles into the Saquarema event in Brazil, and then...
He could go on a bit of a trifecta himself.
J-Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, the base rated 11 fucking alley-oops on my move.
So he will be in the top 5.
Yeah.
That, mark my words, he'll be in there. Jackie Robbo in at 7th. Barron has just... His fall from the dizzying heights of a Pipe Masters trophy continues. So he's down at 8th. Now, we'll just go back down to the cut line. So we'll do, because there's more surfers on the men's, we'll do a couple more. So the 5 above the mid-season cut line, you've got Marco Mignot, Connor O'Leary, Matt McGillivray, Al Cleland, Jiao. So they're just inside.
One thing to comment on that, I can't see Marco doing an air reverse at Margie's main break.
No, but...
So I reckon he's fucked.
He's not afraid to hit a big section, so we'll see.
He's going to land on the Kunji, like dry reef. I'm actually worried.
He's every chance to.
Yep. And he'll still land it. Like he'll just stand on the reef.
Just stop dead.
And do some climb. I'm not sure.
So yeah, look, I think they're probably the 5 that it's going to be. Cole's in at 17th. I don't think you're going to have 5 people jump him, if that makes sense. So I feel like they're the 5 that are most at risk here. Look, Marco, he's a little bit ahead based on just a couple of better results.
He's had an okay year.
Yeah, like he's got a 5th place.
Sorry, I lie. He's had a great year for a rookie.
Yeah. He's got a 5th place in there as well. So the other thing you got to factor in here too is throwaway results. So that all comes into it. This is just a ladder of what I'm looking at now of points, what they've scored, but then you take away their poor scores and that actually eats into it. So Marco's got a 33rd, which is 265 points, bugger all. So that's going to be one of his throwaways.
Yep.
He's probably okay. So you can probably almost lock him in. Connor's in a precarious spot here, 19th. Been very consistent, like hasn't had any 33rds, but hasn't had anything better than a 9th. So he's going to be losing a couple of 17th places, which are actually, they're about 1,300 points, each of those. I think you lose 2. You either lose 1 or 2, but it's sort of a big amount of points to lose.
You definitely want to get rid of one little turd.
Yeah. So, but if a big result here from Connor, and he's done it in the past, he's big waves, big backhand, big man. Quadzilla. I do feel like he's going to be okay here. So
I would say he would definitely be in a lot of people's fantasy teams for
sure.
This one.
And he's also he's got a 4-person head start too. So he's got he's in there. So he's just got to basically better if he can jag another 9th place, which is about 3,000 points, he's probably going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Matty McGillivray with a 2nd place is in at 20th. He's one of those weird ones where he could lose in round 2 or he could win the event. He's such a strange surfer.
I've got him going pretty deep.
You've got him going deep, so you think he'll be all right. Okay, so he's making it. Al Cleland, another one where it's could lose in round 2 or could win the event. Very similar, big lead-footed.
I'm going to have to lean towards he's going to struggle to understand that wave.
Okay, cool. I feel like he'll just register another 9th place or something, and it may be enough to keep him in there.
Yeah.
Jiao. Geez, this is kind of gnarly because Jiao's hungry too. He's going to go on a couple, and he's not afraid to hit a heavy section. So he's right on the cut at 22nd. Dare say he's gonna I'd like to back him in. I feel like he can jump, stay inside, which is a weird one because you go below the cut line now. So a few guys that we really want to see do well, Liam O'Brien and George Pitt are in 23rd and 24th. Liam's actually on the exact same points as Jiao. So whoever does better in this event is going to leapfrog the other one. So fingers crossed for Lob. He can get a better result than Jiao. George came out last year and got a semi-finals here, I believe. So he's going to be feeling really confident in his ability at main break.
Yep.
So I'd like to back him in too. But beyond that, man, I'm just looking. Jackson Bunch 25th, David Silver 26th, Crosby in 27th. I actually don't think Crosby's going to do it, as much as I want him to be on there. He's just like those two injuries to begin the year, I reckon, are going to cruel him.
Yep.
And he's left himself too much work to do late. Just with the names that are above him, I think everyone above him has the potential to do okay, and that could essentially stuff him up. Beyond that, though, man, like I'm pretty happy to write off the rest of the crew. So, in my opinion, Crosby's going to be the last one that can make it down at 27th. We've got Ian Gavea 28th, Sammy Pupo 29th, Ian Gentile 30th, and then a few Gurgia down at 34th, below, who have we got? One spot above Gabriel Medina, who hasn't competed this year. One spot below Ryan Callanan, who has had 2 injury events and hasn't got better than a 17th. So he's actually somehow below Ryan.
Yeah. And Crosby.
Well, Crosby, based on that sort of third place finish he got, is actually, he's kind of found his way up. But with Ryan having only 17th, he's just like, I kind of feel bad. I do feel bad for the grog. He's completed his dream at least.
He got one lap.
He got one lap in.
Half a lap.
We won't be
in the 25-metre pool, not the 50-metre.
Yeah, we won't see him back, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm happy to just write off everyone below Crosby in at 27th.
It's not looking bright, unfortunately.
No, absolutely not. So that's kind of the rankings. We'll go into our fantasy wrap up from the event. So top 5 here. We've got Kevin Greeley in at number 1. Big score, 830 points. That's huge. Late Foam Climbers Anonymous in at 2nd. Buff in at 3rd. Redley in at 4th. And Sunny 100, which I believe is Sonny Russell, making a charge up the rankings, in at 5th. So that was for the event. And then this is overall now huge development on the leaderboard, Zach. We've got Bowie. He's actually taken out, he's number 1. He's coming first. For the first time this season, Andy Irvine, Ballina Blowin, has dropped to 2nd place. The target on his back was too much, clearly, for him to handle. But maybe he likes being maybe likes chasing rather than
back
being
into the slipstream.
Yeah, I like it. So there's not much in it. It's bugger all between those two, about 30 points. 3rd place, Redley. So he's strung a couple of good showings together in the last few events. Smelly Feet in 4th, who I believe is Reno Lindsay. And Kev Greeley, based on that win, he's moved himself up into 5th. So a few little
developments,
few little changes there.
Good on you, lads.
And then we'll just do a little wrap up of Margies. Now, we're recording this on Tuesday night. It's 10:40. Zach's about
I'm running on fumes here, Finley.
Zach's about to fall asleep. The forecast.
I'm actually worried there's something worse than falling asleep on camera.
What do you think's going to happen?
Micro sleep, and I keep talking, don't know what I'm talking about, which is pretty well standard for most of my waking day.
Look, man, the forecast is looking pretty solid. Early days, once again, event starts Saturday.
Next Tuesday's saying 8 to 10 foot.
Yeah, well, event starts Saturday. Friday's looking pumping, as is the theme, continues.
Fuck, it is. I'm actually just going to say, though, if it's 8 to 10 foot and offshore, that's fucking shit. It's shit. What can you do when it's 8 to 10 foot? And do you know when it's like stiff offshore? Not like just nice and glassy, like fucking batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You can't do anything above halfway up the wave because you're going to get fucking sent out to sea.
The real winner there is Ethan, right? Like, in those conditions, he's going to be throwing water to the moon. John Florence would have been another one to watch in this event, but he's
pretty
not.
Sure, like, if you just tag the end section and manage to fucking WrestleMania the fucking whitewash, you're going to get a big score.
Yeah, if you finish off and don't knock your fins and your 2 front teeth out on that end rock
To
section.
be honest, I'd rather see it at 4 to 6.
Yeah. Oh, but the thing
8
is,
to 10, fuck, what are you... You're starting to think about fucking a 7-0.
When it's, well, at least when it's 8 to 10 though, the wave's a bit slower. Like when you said that 4 to 6 range, it kind of like, it's really racy. They get a turn in and then they have to like race around and then they get to the end section. Like at least 8 to 10 foot, they're like they're really drawing lines and it
it's
slows
like
the
a big
wave up.
Macca's burger.
Yeah, for sure.
But it looks like there's going to be a little bit of variety.
Yeah.
It's not just a whole forecast of 8 to 10
There's
foot.
bits and pieces for sure.
Yep.
Probable start early days of the window.
Yep.
And you got to keep in mind when selecting your winners and your family teams and all that, there is potential for heats at the box. Now, we don't think it will run there. It's quite a logistical nightmare to run heats at the box. But
no, it's close. They don't have to. Really
no, but like in
much.
terms of like waiting for tides and things like that.
Yeah, tide is the sticky point.
Yeah, so it makes things a bit challenging, but
And no North Point.
No North Point. North Point's not an option anymore. So it is an option, but you're not really picking your fantasy team with that in mind. You're just kind of picking crew that are going to hopefully do good at both. We don't really know wildcards yet, although Jacob Wilcox won the trials today. So he's in the event.
Hot off the press.
Hot off the press. This is like brand new information. Also, not saying anything. Mikey McDonough has flown over there. Read into that what you will. I'm going to leave that there. We've got winners and dark horses, Zach. Yep. Do you want to start us off with your winners?
Yeah, so on the female side, I've gone Gabby.
Yep.
She's just a strong surfer, and with a forecast like that, I think anyone, I think Erin Brooks is going to struggle. She literally could get blown off a wave.
She could be the first surfer in history at main break Margies to actually need rescuing from.
She might have to get one of those toe boards with like lead. Or like a weighted vest.
Throwback. Kalohe Andino a few years ago had a really good surfboard that he must have rode through the Australian League, was loving it, and took it out one of the days at Margie's, went, this is too light, like I can't ride this. So Matt Biolis went to the hardware store.
Yes, I remember this.
Bought some weights and stuck them to the board in like various points that were going to like, I don't know, not disrupt the performance of the board. And he took it out and got a really good result.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fucking strange.
So, wouldn't be the first time this has happened, but...
Yeah, fuck no. I can't see anyone doing that. But have you seen those little... I actually saw Seth's boards with those little fucking plastic...
is he running the little
fin thingies?
at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Everyone's going to be like racing down to the fucking surf shop at fucking...
No, we will not get them
Karen
in.
up or something. Going, oh, mate, you got those little fucking shark fin things? No, I'm
As
kidding.
someone who works in the surf shop, that is not something that
Not happening,
people
is it?
will be getting in.
No. On the men's,
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky suspicion about Jake Marshall.
With the forecast being as big as it is, I don't dislike it at all.
I think it suits his surfing.
Yep.
And it could be pretty similar to Bells. And he did really well at Bells.
Yep.
There was a few days where Bells was 6 foot.
Yep.
And a little bit lumpy and hard to kind of read.
Jake comes into his own when there's a big wall. Like when he can draw his turn out from the top of the wave to the bottom of the wave, that's sort of when he does his best surfing. I think if it's 8 to 10 foot clean Margies, like you're saying it's going to be, there's no reason why he
got
can't.
it on his forehand too.
Yeah, there's no reason, unless you want to go left into the deepest water of all time, which
Fuck, it's good for scuba diving. That's about it.
Italy will be going left trying airs again, but
A few chop ups.
Yeah,
so I've gone Jakey Marshall and Gabby
Bryant. Cool. We've got the same woman winner, Gabby Bryant. I think she'll just like not leave anyone with a chance. I think she'll just do way bigger turns than everyone.
Very suited for her.
Yeah. Like I do think she's a type of surfer like Ethan on the men's side, but obviously like comparable on the ladies' side where they can do one turn and they can get a 7 for it. And I think she's going to be doing that throughout this event. So
I feel like could probably throw Tyler in there.
Yeah.
I think it suits Tyler.
It does, but I also no. No.
Fair.
Men's winner, Ethan. Just think
Throwback.
No John this year. Filipe is back, as we've said. I think Ethan, he has the type of surfing, again, like Gabby, one turn can net him a 7-point ride. And I just think he'll go on one of those John runs where he can't put a foot wrong and doesn't...
Just fucking lay some serious rail.
Yeah, he gets to the end of his wave and you know it's an 8 minimum. I think it's just going to be one of those events for Ethan. Your dark horses, Let's hear him.
I've gone with Matty McGilvray.
Nice. Like it. He is the ultimate, like, just surfing Magoo. Like, you don't know what he's going to dish up. And
You know he skydives?
yeah, he jumps
Solo
off bridges. No, like, not even skydives. Like, he does the ones where, like, they jump off bridges and stuff with, what do they call it? I've forgotten the term, but he does
Like cliff
those.
diving?
Yeah, he does like cliff diving, but with parachute. And like
Base jumping.
base jumping. He does
Yeah.
that. He's an absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
So he's just one of those guys that you really can't like put a result on him before the event. You just have to, whatever mood he's in and whatever, like, you know, I don't know. He just seems to pop up when you least expect it.
No, I like what he's putting down at the moment.
Yep.
He's showing glimpses as well. Like obviously in Al Sal, there was moments at Bells where he really connected well, and again he's a strong lad.
Yep.
Also got a little bit of a hint of his final with Ethan at J-Bay. It was pretty big.
Yep.
And fuck, he was pretty dangerous out there too. So
For sure.
threw him in. And for the females, I've gone Barisa.
Full lead foot woman surfer.
Stocky build.
Yeah.
From Hawaii. So, well,
Translate. There's a translation there for sure.
lives in Hawaii from Costa Rica. But she's going to be comfortable. She's been there a bunch of times too.
Yeah.
We've got a few rookies going over that are probably going to struggle to figure that wave out. I don't think anyone goes there straight away and goes, oh yeah, sweet, this is pretty simple.
Yeah.
There's fucking bits of reef.
For sure.
There's ledges. At least the takeoff zone's kind of in one area, but then there's boils as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really go left, but you can go left. It's fucking difficult.
You're not scoring on the you're not, if your coach is there, if you're there with a coach, sorry, they're not telling you to go left at all. They're saying
If they are, you should probably call us.
you should find a different coach. Yeah. They're saying go right. So look, she's on her forehand. She got a big score at Bells, landed into a big wall, and I think she needs a result. So this is the place for her to do it. My dark horses, George Pitar, just based on his results there from last year. He's someone
Went
that's
on a fucking roll.
He did. He's someone that's going in here with A, he knows that the judges appreciate his surfing at this venue, and B, he's had a result there and he needs one to requalify. And I just think he'd be going in with more confidence, similar to your Brisa take, where he knows he can put a good showing in here. So I feel like he's going to be ultra confident that he can get it done. And I'm pretty confident that he can get it done too. And then my female dark horse is, I'm just going to go with Vaheen Fierro. Firstly, she's not going to be scared of if we do get some big days out there. If it's 8 to 10 foot, she's been packing waves that size at Chopes. So mushy, well, it's probably not, it's pretty powerful, but like a burgery sort of right-hander isn't going to phase her at all, I wouldn't imagine. And look, her backhand's been looking really good these past few events. So I'm happy to just chuck her in there. I feel like she can put a couple turns together on her backhand and get some
Hard
sevens.
wave on your backhand.
Would be, but
only some waves produce, like at least at Bells, it's got Bells Bowl and it's like steep.
Yeah.
And it's pretty well, every wave's similar.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, Muggies is flat.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think like it could be an advantage to an extent there on your backhand, especially on the ladies' side of things, because you got that bit extra like.
Oh, if you
pivot.
can find a wave where you can connect close to the lip with a bit of push, then fuck, it's going to be hard to match on your forehand. But I just think it's an event where you see a lot of cutbacks and waiting for that end section.
For sure.
And section is so fucked to deal with. You would know as well, when a section's coming at you.
It's a sandwich. It's a full sandwich effect. It's like you got this wedge and you try and...
You've got two great forces motoring towards each other and you're in the fucking middle.
Yeah, yeah. And you see many a surfer.
It's like being in the middle of an accident.
The person that does it the best, obviously, is John. And like whether that's him getting to the lip early and riding out in front of the convergence.
Get to the lip.
Yeah, I feel like that's the secret to success there. Is if you can get in there and out very quickly.
Get down line on go.
Yeah, and just hold like full, just power stance your way out of there.
Yeah.
That can be a benefit to you.
Straight over the reef.
Yeah. So I just think as a dark horse pick, Vaheen, I think she can get a result here. So I'm going to throw her in. Zach, do you want to pull up your fantasy team? I'll run through mine first while you get yours up. So my tier A ladies, I've gone Gabby Bryan, and she is the ×2 for me. I think she's just wins. Tier B, Isabella Nichols and Vaheen Fierro. And then tier C, I've thrown Brissa in. She's just, I do think she can get a good result here. My men's team. So I've gone Ethan ×2, Filipe. They're my tier A's. Tier B, Rio, Georgie Pitta, Griffin, and Leo. And then my tier C, I've gone Crosby. Had Sammy Pupo, but that was before they added Jacob as the wild card. So I'm going to switch Sammy Pupo out with Jacob. So that's my 2 teams. Who have you got?
I've got Gabby Bryan for the win with 2 times on her as well, same as you.
Yeah.
Next up in the tier B, I've gone with Tyler and Vaheen.
Nice.
We've just spoken about those 2. And then in tier C, Brisa. So we've touched on those guys and ladies, and that's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
In tier A, I went Jack Robbo and Ethan.
Yep.
I just feel like that's a fucking pretty hard combo. I feel like that's going to be the most picked tier A of this event.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep.
Tier B, Leo, Connor, Matty McGilvray, Jake Marshall with the win.
Yep.
2 times on Jakey Marshall. And then I've gone Ryan, and then I'm going to go Jacob.
Couple goofy footers.
Yeah.
Couple goofs.
I did just kind of diss on the goof, but going back and watching these guys here, they've had great results.
Well, Jacob's an exception to that rule because he's lived there. He probably goes out of his way not to surf there, mind you. But he's done well here in the past, and especially when it's been bigger too.
Yeah.
It's like it really is a thing, like not being afraid to hit a big section. And Jacob's not afraid to stick his board up into a pretty disgusting looking lip. So, yeah.
He was in form in the final as well. He did have a 9 in the trials, something like that. Did have a few sketchy heats, but yeah, put it up against Jackie T in the final there. So good on him. I think this must be his 4th or 5th event that he's been in this.
Yeah, he's been going.
This event for not being on tour is pretty crazy.
He's been going hard, man. So it's good on him. Like, get another run, get some cash, get his season underway on the Challenger, and hopefully, given that the new developments on the tour next year, he can get his way back on there and do as he's meant to and be a professional surfer. Because man, like his talent's there. It's just
been so fucking close every time.
Yeah.
I think he's up to 2 or 3 years by missing out on one spot.
Yeah, he's racking those ones up. So fingers crossed, this can be the start of a bit of a run for him. Yeah. Look, we've gotten through all we really had written down here. Probably a bit quicker than we thought. Actually, it's been about an hour and 20 or so, hour and 25.
I was actually about to start doing the Mr. Bean when he gets the toothpicks in his eyes just to stay away.
Zach is really like. I can't stress enough. I was sat at home playing like my PlayStation.
You haven't even had dinner yet.
No, I actually did eat.
Oh,
I just was thinking about the second dinner because I'm pretty hungry still. I was sat at home playing PlayStation.
Your day had just started.
My day had just begun. And I was just like, Zach, I realised I was working tomorrow and don't normally work Wednesdays. And I messaged Zach and I was like, dude, I can't do the pod tomorrow. And then he was like, oh, I'm flying out. Like, we're in Sydney. We can do it at 5. And then kind of like wasn't really going to be like a good idea, I didn't think. So
just
I was like,
doom, doom.
Yeah, in the airport.
Like a name page and fucking whatever.
Yeah. So we were just like, should we do it now? And that call was made at about, like 8 o'clock.
I was literally packing my bag and you text me and I wanted, it's like the rational part of my brain wasn't working yet. And when you said, should we do it now? And I almost typed, fuck no.
Yeah.
And then I was like, future self will love if you say yes.
Yeah.
And here we are, an hour and a half in, and I think this one will see the light of day. We've had way worse.
We've done worse.
But for anyone there's a bit of a backstory. Our work, not Finley's work, my work after 7?
It's been not your best.
7 p.m. I'm fucking switching off.
Yeah.
And we've done, I think the shittest pods we've done that
They've
we've
all
had
been
to
around
delay.
this time.
We've had to be around this time.
We've done 2 at this time. This is our 3rd.
Yeah.
The other 2 didn't see the light of day. So
One of them, Finley was talking for 15 minutes and he threw to me and I didn't know what he'd spoken about for 15 minutes. And I looked at him blank face and just went, and just started talking.
yeah, I'm going to have to review this one though. It might when I listen to it tomorrow, there could be some crazy stuff, but I think there's enough juice in there to get something out of it. So, thanks again if you're this far in.
Yeah.
Credit to yous. Thanks for listening.
Next one will be poolside pina colada.
Yes, I can't wait. And to our Spanish listeners,
What is going on there?
they're our second best or second most viewed
listened.
or most listened demographic now. The Spaniards. So
It went and by 4%.
4.5%.
That's a fucking big number.
They've overtaken the States. So it was always Australia at like 90.
Trying to think how the fuck that happened.
I don't know. I don't know what we did to maybe they're angry or maybe hopefully they're not. Hopefully they just want to learn about surfing, in which case hopefully we're doing that. But
I know very little Spanish too.
I know zero. So to our Spanish friends, thanks for tuning in. Everyone else,
¿Cómo
thank you.
estás?
Thank you for listening. Like we said off the top, if you could, it'd be really helpful to us if you could just chuck us a follow on Instagram or TikTok at the Largo Podcast.
And on Spotify, Apple Music. You can follow on there as well.
Whatever streaming service you use to listen to us, chuck us a follow on there too. And always as well, like on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that, leave us a comment because we're like actively looking for them and we will reply to you. We won't leave you. We won't ghost you. At the Largo Podcast on Instagram and the Largo Podcast on YouTube.
We'll be there.
Thanks again, guys, for listening in, and we will see you poolside next week. Zach will be doing an interview with John Florence in Hawaii. So
I will not be, but listen in anyway.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Good night, San Diego.